Speculation has been going on that I plan to make a second channel called Math 606, and then once I hit 606 videos, then I'm not going to publish any more over there, and then make another channel called Maths 707. And that speculation basically came out of the fact that it's been roughly 2 weeks since my last upload, which was video number 505. So no, that is not the case, and this is the 506th video on the channel. And today's integral is sponsored by Ritwin Nara, who is currently designing some problem for Stanford's Integration B. So shout out to Ritwin. And we are about to solve this really cool looking integral from 0 to infinity of the fractional part of e to the x over e to the x dx. Okay, cool. And we're going to leverage the properties of the fractional part function, but before that, I'd actually like to make a substitution. First up, notice that this thing can be written out as the integral from 0 to infinity of e to the minus x times the fractional part of e to the x dx. And now we could introduce a transformation that is letting e to the minus x equal u, and this implies that negative e to the negative x dx is equal to du. And hold up, is that the actual idea I had? Oh, no, of course not. In fact, the transformation was something completely different. It was, delete, it was letting e to the x itself equal u, and this implies that e to the x dx equals du, but this implies that dx is equal to 1 over e to the x du, and e to the x is simply u. So we have dx here, terribly sorry about that, equal to du over u. And as far as the limits are concerned, we see that as x tends to 0, we have u tending to 1, and as x tends to infinity, we have u tending to infinity as well. So the target integral I now transforms into, what is wrong with my pen today? Perhaps it needs a replacement. This is now the integral from, terribly sorry about that, and this is, I think my pen is going to need a replacement of some sort. So this is the integral from 1 to infinity, much better, and the fractional part of e to the x turns into the fractional part of u, and then we have over u, and then we have du over u as well. Okay, cool. So we'll just simplify this as the integral from 1 to infinity, fractional part of u over u squared du. Now, the fractional part of a real number x is actually just the real number x minus the floor of x, where the floor, of course, represents the integer part of x. I mean, you can work this out really easily. If you want the fractional part of 69.420, you just take 69 and you just take the number 69.420 and subtract from it the number 69, and you get 0.420, which is indeed the fractional part of this number. Okay, cool. So let me just highlight this separately, and we'll write this out as the integral from 1 to infinity. Fractional part of u turns into u minus the floor of u, and both are divided by u squared, so I will have some cancellation taking place, and we're left with the integral from 1 to infinity of 1 over u minus floor of u over u squared du. And this is a pretty cool looking integral. We can now leverage the properties of the floor function, because why the hell not? So the floor of u is going to be equal to the integer k if and only if u here is bound between k plus 1 and k. Okay, cool. So what we could do is decompose the integral operator over here and write this as I equal to the sum over k from 1 to infinity of the integrals from, terribly sorry about that, again, that was quite sharp, the integrals from, you know what, I'm just not going to write this operator properly right now, integrals from k to k plus 1, and that's an interesting looking k, terribly sorry about that. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so we've decomposed the integral from 1 to infinity into a sum of integrals from k to k plus 1, where k runs from 1 to infinity, so clearly we have integrals 1 to 2, plus integrals 2 to 3, plus integrals 3 to 4, yada yada yada. So all of this, when summed up, gives you the integral from 1 to infinity. absolutely perfect. And we have 1 over u, and since u here is bound between k and k plus 1, the floor of u will return k. So we have k over u squared du. Okay, cool. Slightly better. Why has my K gotten so much more cursive? That is horrible. And my OCD is kicking in, but that is much more nice. But yeah, my K has become a lot more cursive over the years. Anyway, so this is what the integral looks like, or at least now we have a sum of integrals. And how on earth are we going to evaluate this? Well, the integration looks pretty elementary. We have, oh yes, elementary, my dear Watson. The sum over K from 1 to infinity of 1 over u turns into log u, with the limits being k to k plus 1. And then we have a minus k times 1 over u squared, so that's a plus k times 1 over u, with again the limits being k plus 1 and k. Okay, cool. So evaluating this gives us the sum over k from 1 to infinity of log of k plus 1 minus log of k plus k times 1 over k plus 1 minus 1 over k. And some simplification looks to be in order. We have the sum over k from 1 to infinity, log of k plus 1 minus log k, plus k times k minus k plus 1, so that just cancels out, and we're left with k over k times k plus 1, but that cancels out again. So we are left with 1 over k plus 1. Okay, cool. Now this looks enticing, but the problem is it doesn't look like we have a closed form for this, but don't worry, we're mathematicians. We scoff at the sight of divergent sums. Ha ha ha. We don't even care. I mean, we laugh in the face of death, which is less scary than, you know, a divergent sum or integral. And that's another cursive k caught in the wild. So what are we going to do here? Well, we're just going to make use of a very simple definition, and that is this can be written as a limit of the sum over k from 1 to n as n tends to infinity. See, got you there. Of log of k plus 1 minus log of k plus 1 over k plus 1. And it should be clear now why this thing even converges, because you do have this telescoping term here. So let me use the linearity now of the summation operator, which works. So we have sum over k from 1 to n now of log of k plus 1 minus log of k. Then we have added to it the sum over k from 1 to n of 1 over k plus 1. Okay, cool. Now that looks interesting. So let me just evaluate this part first. So I want you to notice that if I expand it, then I should get a log 2 minus log 1. Log 1 itself is going to be 0 anyway. Plus the other term for k equals 2 is going to give me log 3 minus, terribly sorry about, oh dear me, there's the plus sign gone. Log 3 minus log 2. And then we're going to have a log 4 minus log 3, yada yada yada. Finally, at the end, we're going to get a log of n plus 1 minus log of n. And we see this pattern of cancellation, so that's the telescoping happening. Log 3 goes away, log 4 goes away. The only surviving term should be the first and last term, but the first one is 0 anyway. So that means this thing converges to log of n plus 1. Okay, cool. This is fascinating so far. And now we'll return to the target integral, that is I, which is the limit as n tends to infinity of, let's see, we have log of n plus 1 minus the, I seem to have made some kind of sign error. I am pretty sure of it. 1 over k plus 1 minus 1 over k. 1 over k is bigger. Oh, that should have been a minus 1 left behind as a residual. So there's a negative here. And wait, I could make it look as if I had made no mistake after all. Yes, of course. Why not should I keep my ability to add things, which is non-existent? Anyway, so now what we have is minus the sum over k from 1 to n of 1 over k plus 1, which looks absolutely dope. Okay, now let me just rearrange things to get something familiar. And the first thing to note here is log of n plus 1 is pretty much the same as log n for large n. So I here is equal to the limit, and I'm going to introduce a negative sign because I'm moving stuff around within the limit, as in I'm switching up the order of terms here. The sum over k from 1 to n of 1 over k plus 1 minus log n. So we're evaluating the limit of this thing, and this thing looks extremely familiar. How so? Let me just add a 0 here. This thing could be expanded as the sum over k from 1 to n of 1 over k plus 1 plus a 1 over 0 plus 1, which is one term, minus a, or let me just write that out explicitly, adding a 1, and subtracting a 1. Okay, as in adding a 0, flammable maths. If you have one apple and you take it away, then you have no apples, QED. So this thing turns into a sum over k from 0 to n of 1 over k plus 1 minus a 1 term. So I here is now equal to, let's see, the negative of the limit as n tends to infinity. Let me hope that I don't get the signs wrong. Sum over k from 0 to n of 1 over k plus 1. Or you could transform it now and say that I have the sum over k from 1 to n of 1 over k to get something that is exactly the same, but perhaps a bit more standard. And cursive k again, minus log n. But you also have a negative 1 term in there somewhere. Okay, cool. So let me just highlight this thing. And of course, the negative sign needs to appear there as well. Must not mess up the signs. Okay, that looks well and good. So the limit of this thing is actually just the Euler-Mascheroni constant. So you have the Euler-Mascheroni constant with a negative sign, but you also have this negative 1, and the two negatives cancel out, implying that the target integral sorts out to 1 minus the Euler-Mascheroni constant, which looks absolutely insane. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something from the video. Do drop me a follow on Instagram as well, and thank you. See you next time.